So if you're here, you're probably working with Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro, and you might be scared about the node structure that is applied when we're doing a professional color grading. So I might know that with Premiere you might normally go on the edit, mesh, a corrector level, and go on your single image and make few tweaks on Lumetri, and you might know that it is not the professional way to work and adjust an image. You want to work with node structure because it's more, efficient. You can control it in a better way and you can manage it in a better way. So before talking about nodes itself, I want to take a look at this node structure, and I want to look at my image. And just looking at that, you have to understand mainly that your RGB data comes from this input node right here, this green dot, stream down this correctors. Those boxes are called correctors, and this could stream data in RGB or alpha, way around. And the main thing is that in the end, all those data comes to an output, that is the output that will go on the deliver page. So you're just making tweaks and doing things around, correcting your image like water in a stream, in a torrent, in a river, by going in the output. Why I'm talking about water? Think like water, because when you're working on an image, you want to work on certain points and structure your whole pipeline in a certain way, which is, great to manage, because you can do things around and know that if you're doing, variation here, tweaks there, you are changing everything from there on and not everything, before this corrector. So let me just make a really quick example by taking this image and just creating two corrector. And so let me just make few variation here. I just want to create contrast. So by creating contrast, or better, by darkening up my image, you're seeing by the preview on the corrector that everything that I'm doing here, it is also replicated on the corrector after, but not on the corrector before. Why that? Because you got to think as a stream of data. So everything that I'm doing here, it's also, followed up here. And that's the main thing about nodes. You are streaming down data from an input to an output. Okay, so that's the base thing to understand. And you have to understand that you have basically one type of corrector, or what most people call nodes, and it is called the serial node. So if I, not serial like cereals, but serial node, okay? So let's just open this up. The serial node can be added with Option S, and we got a serial before or after. So normally with Option S, you're adding a serial after another one, so you can just add multiple of this. And serial before is just add with Shift S. And these are just basically stream of data, okay? Right now, by the way, I'm focusing on one single image, but a thing that you want to understand is that this stream of data must be extended to multiple groups, and you can just select multiple clips, create groups, and by creating a group, let me just do group 4, okay? Just by making groups, you're grouping multiple clips, and you can work on a singular clip and just stay here on this little dot that stands for clip, since that you're working on that clip. You can work on the timeline that actually is, as you are supposed to do on Premiere, on a regulation level up on the others. So with timeline, you're just applying thing on the whole montage, on the whole timeline, so even outside this little group. And the other two dots stands for group pre-clip and group post-clip. So everything that you're doing here, think again, like water, it's streamed down previously through those clips, and it will affect everything that happened on each single clip, which might be different for each single clip. And the group post clip will have effect after the group pre and the clip itself, okay? So it will affect everything that comes from this stream. And then the timeline that is above everything, okay? And that's the main thing that I want to focus, because you just have to understand that in little project, like maybe this one where I don't have more than like 60 cuts, you might want to, it's up to you, this thing, you might want to correct one clip after the other. And on other projects, you don't want to create groups. You might want to work, display referred, or you might want to work just scene referred. So you just have to decide which way you want to work. In this case, I'm working scene referred, and I'm just translating my output with a color space transform right here. So I just want to focus on that right now. I just want to let you understand that you can focus on multiple things when you are just organizing your timeline and having a really methodical approach. So we talk about serial nodes, and serial nodes are the baseline when you are color correcting or color grading. Then we got parallel nodes. You can create parallel nodes with Option P, or you can just right click, go into add node and add parallel. So adding parallel node, and let me just add a serial after this parallel mixer. So adding parallel nodes is just the equal thing of working with serial, but in this way you're working one corrector parallel to the other. What does this mean? So again, as I've done before, I can create a really simple contrast. Guys, don't mind about the tweaks I'm gonna do. Is just to let you understand the node structure, okay? So I might be inaccurate on most of this. So by doing this thing, I am still working on this streamed way. I'm just connecting data one after the other. But the great thing here is that I can, work with two serial parallel. And what I'm gonna do on the other one will contrast or be at or work together, merge with the other corrector. So let me say that here I want to go on the opposite side. I'm actually canceling what I've done right here, but what I had put is just the sum of the combined thing of these two corrector. Let me make it in a really simple way. I'm going to add a bit of contrast here, okay, and a bit more contrast here. So we are merging those two serial together, okay, to do corrector together. And on the upper one, I want to drag the gain on the yellow side, and so the image output yellow. But on the other parallel, I will go on the opposite side. So by doing this, I won't be super accurate here, but I won't go halfway to let you understand this thing. So right here, if I zoom up, you can see that I have a yellowy image on the upper part and a magenta-like image on this downer part. What's that? So main thing here is that we are merging together two serial nodes. So by doing this, I am actually, merging up RGB data, and I'm outputting one single output that is the merge of both these things together. And that's the main, method to create custom looks, to create, really great looks around. And it's also a great way to work with the dodge and burning method, which I use a lot during my process. If you want to add more parallel with Option P and just, add more contrast and, window a specific area, okay? And so by doing those things, you're just adding serials, and all of them are merged together into this parallel mixer. But in the same way, this works in the same streamed way. All the correctors and all these nodes work in the same way. And everything will be outputted from the mixer. So You can also merge more of them. You can also add serials, and this will be working in a serial way and be mixed with the other one from singular output. So that's the base from parallel nodes. Then we have, in a really similar but really different way, layer nodes. So if I press Option L or right click, add node, add layer, you'll see that we have this tiny box really similar to the parallel mixer, but you can see that it's different, and this works in a really different way. So let me say that with the parallel, I might have made a few changes here, and everything will be outputted. So if I'm gonna make few changes here on the upper node, you can see that I'm seeing modification on the preview itself, but I'm not seeing any modification on the output. Why is that? Because we are thinking layer based. So if I want to see everything that I got on this downer layer, I have to make, let me say this in that way, a whole, or better, a selection on my upper part. You can make selection with windows, you can make selection with qualifiers, and I can, make a simple window and see through my layer or outside my layer by inverting that. And this is also cool for the creation of specific looks, or just, again, dodge and burning, vignetting, whatever. And you can add multiple layer, but here's the thing, every time you add a layer, you are layering everything up, so you have to create other selections. So I might do another thing here. And again, the main thing about layer based is that if you're not creating selection and holes, you will always see the upper layer. That actually, if you are Premiere based or Photoshop based, you might understand everything in that way. So you might see that the upper layer is just the one you're seeing, but we're structuring everything with nodes, so be with me with nodes. And so you're seeing everything through this one. If you want to see the other correction, you have to create selection or nodes. So I'm seeing that, let me make something stronger, yellow, okay. I'm seeing, that downer layer, but if I go on the center, everything is normal because it's filtered by this same selection right here. So really simple to understand, but really strong to use later. And there are tons of usage on layer and parallel mixer, and I love using them during my color grading process. Then you have what we call the outside node, and you can make it with Option O, or just by pressing again add node, add outside. So what this does, you can normally, as we saw before, make a correction, and this same correction goes on the output. And I might say, yeah, well, I like that mood, but I just don't want to see that correction on this main center where he works. So I'm gonna invert my selection right here. I want to fade that out a bit in this way. But what now if I want to, focus and work just on this specific part? Some of you might say, let's make another serial and let's just make, similar selection. But no, you can just press Option O, and everything that you will have here in a serial node will be the exact opposite of the selection you got on this corrector right here, on this serial node. So you're actually translating your alpha data by inverting them. So you're actually carrying the alpha data, and then here on this outside, this is have been inverted. Okay, you can do that manually. You can just create a serial, carry your alpha, and you can see we will have the same selection right here, and then go there on your key and just invert everything that you got on your mat. And that's the same thing as pressing Option O, but you are doing, multiple things, and here you just have to press Option O. And that's really great if you want to carry around selection. You can also create big structure and just carry those data around wherever you want through the output. And if you want to output them for VFX reason or other reason, you can just add alpha output and just carry them on your output. You can also add another source if you want to, I don't know, create other correctors, maybe make custom clip conversion in the beginning and just carry around selections or RGB data, whatever. You can do tons of things, but we're just talking about base of nodes to let you understand and start working with them in a really professional way. Also, if you go to add node, we got key mixer, we got a splitter and combiner. Okay, so all those things that we saw, parallel layer, parallel mixer, sorry, we got also layer and mixer, and everything based on the correctors and on the nodes. You can also make them yourself by creating parallel mixer and layer mixer and just adding correctors around and start doing your own thing if you want to do it yourself outside the structure and then be connected to a main structure and go in the output. Okay, you can just carry data around, but to let you understand it in a really simple way, let's just be based on that. And again, if you're not understanding some shortcuts and stuff, I got a color grading masterclass and an advanced grading masterclass right down below the link. And about those things, you can just carry around data, and by creating correctors here with the splitter and the combiner, as you can see on the previews, I'm actually adding more correctors that will carry out. Let me also drag in the combiner. So I'm going to plug everything here. I'm carrying RGB data by splitting them. Okay, and you might say, why do you want to do that? This is a great way to work if you want to make denoise, or if you want to work singularly on the RGB of your image. And it's great for VFX, it's great also for cleaning up your image. And the key combiner, we also got the key splitter. It's great if you have multiple key selection, and in the same way as the parallel and the layer work, or better, the parallel works, this will merge up the selection that you got from your singular corrector. Okay, actually it is really simple. You just got to go through the whole pipeline, and I might understand that these are tons of information for you if you're coming from Premiere, but just take a look at this node structure. You can understand just by watching this that once you have everything really structured and really well working, everything will work in a better way on your whole pipeline. So just to let you understand what I did here, and by the way, this is my personal approach. Tons of colorists have different approaches. This is one of my typical approach on my project. So I just translated in the end of my structure my image from, sorry, let's clean it up, from C-Log3 to Rec 709. So I'm just outputting my image from there, and everything before that is inside a logarithmic space. So I'm working on a logarithmic image, and you can see that again if I unselect few parts, everything before this selection will change because everything there will affect everything that stands before, but everything that is after, and everything that is before stands as it was. Okay, so it's really crucial to understand this, and what I did here is just convert my image, work a bit on saturation, offset, just fixing up a bit my image. And you have dodge and burning, so I just fixed up and made a little real light of my image. Then I create a look right here. Okay, that's a custom made look, just some OFX. So I had an extra blur, I had some glow here, some mask glow, some secret sauce right here on whole gen, and on CST I just translate my image. On the timeline, by the way, I also got a few correctors, or blue and cyan, and grain, and a bit of punch, okay? And that's it, guys. So if you might want to start working with that, you know, it will be great for you starting using Davinci Resolve right now, and stop using those layers that you probably use on Final Cut, on Premiere. Not because one is better than the other, and again, we're not talking about overcomplicating things around. I just want to focus on, you know, working on the proper way, okay, and obtaining great result. But it's working in a methodical way, in a strong way, that it's not about adding more correctors just for the fancy things of having tons of correctors, but it's creating the right amount of corrector that will help you manage your image and your client if they ask for any modification, by the way, in post, in the great way. So stick with a methodical approach on your project. And if you're still spending hours around the web searching for the life-changing tutorial, be known that the only thing you need to learn is how to craft a methodical and properly crafted working path. I made 2 color grading masterclasses, one themed for beginner and one for expert colorists. In these 2 masterclasses, I compressed 10 years of on-ground experience into more than 25 hours of video content. If you want to level up your color grading skills, check the link below. Until the next time, be brave and make it better.